right, you guys, your girl G here. Appreciate you for tuning in. We have reached the finale, you guys, of season 10 of Married to Medicine. Everything is concluding, closed out. And honestly, from what we have gotten from this season and with the reunion, I am going to guess that majority of the people are coming back, including Quad. She went on her apology tour to make sure she at least tried to, maintain this check, y'all, because a Bravo check is a check at the end of the day. But yeah, you guys, let's go ahead and get into the reunion. So speaking of check, Phaedra knew she had to work for hers because during the season she didn't give what was supposed to be gave. Everybody does, or I won't say everybody, but there's just so many people on Twitter who are talking about, oh, Phaedra this, Phaedra that, Phaedra this. And in the back of my mind, I'm like, she don't literally give nothing. Like, she doesn't open up about her life. You ask her questions and you getting stupid stuff like, oh yeah, I'm 6-7 months pregnant and I'll be giving birth in spring, September, winter. Like she's Sheree or something. And it's just like, you can never get a straight answer with Phaedra. So in those regards, I do not think she's, the greatest for TV, which is why we got what we got this season. But like I said, she gonna work for her check. She got to make up some ground. So she invited Apollo, y'all. Oh, Apollo with his old... It's so annoying when niggas be fine. Like, it's so annoying, y'all. And it's a difference when dudes be fine and know they fine. And that's how Apollo walks into places. And I can't stand girls like that because it's like they get to act however they want to act just on the basis of knowing that they fine. But because I know Apollo's true character after watching him on that couples therapy show, immediately the fineness, once the initial shock wears off, you be like, oh yeah, he ain't nothing. He walked in with his suit, tailored with the chain on, and Andy had to get up and get his old hug. So he hugged Apollo. Everybody was happy to, just shocked to see him and stuff like that because it was just an empty chair. And then he came and sat down. Of course, he got introduced, and Andy's like, oh, what are you doing here? And Phaedra's like, well, I invited him because, the ladies had jokes to say during the season. And she really kind of used Toya's comment during the season as an excuse to bring Apollo, because Toya made a comment of like, oh, if you really good with the dad, then why is he not here at the birthday? Which, to me is kind of... It really is kind of like an antiquated thing, because at the end of the day, just like, you can be good with somebody co-parenting, and typically, most of the time, if you've divorced, you will have separate birthdays. So, she invited Apollo. Of course, they got to ask him questions about his I'm getting locked up journey. Come to find out, he was, down for 5 years. And, Andy was like, this is a big change since the last time I seen you, in the garage. And they do the playback. And that's what he was telling Phaedra. Because Phaedra was like, I might not even be here when you get back. He said, that's what you always do. Like, you just gonna leave me or whatever. These dudes just be wanting to ride or die. And bro, I'm not going down with you. Get somebody else to do it. So, yeah, Apollo talked about how he was down for 5 years, how he actually was in the same prison as Joe Giudice with his old fried texting ass. And that's another reason, too, about making sure what you signing, ladies, y'all, because Teresa had to go to jail for her dude. Because you be, oh, let me trust my husband. He say sign this, I'm going to put my name on it. Come to find out, you over there writing hot checks and shit. So, Apollo talked about how he saw Joe Giudice or whatever. He was in his little crew and Apollo was in his crew. But Apollo went down to solitary confinement for like 90 days. And I'm sure that took a toll on him, which is why when he said like, oh, it was hard for me when I got out, I was just angry and, fighting. And like, Apollo got issues. Like, if you watch that couples therapy show, the control issues with that man is crazy. And then to come find out, like, literally last week, he was pulling up with a backpack with a spend the night bag to a girl's crib. Like, we all knew he was going to cheat anyways, but Apollo kind of falls in that Mauricio category where it's like, when you, like, let's say you fine and you fine, you could just do whatever because girls is going to accept it. And that's unfortunately where his current wife, who really did hold him down and I think she had a baby with him, if I'm not mistaken. If I'm not mistaken, I'm not sure, but she had a daughter, and she moved and all types of stuff so she could drive and be seeing Apollo. And now look at it, like, all for what? This is why we say that ride or die stuff, throw it out the window. Um, but yeah, so they get into Apollo and Phaedra, them co-parenting. And so Phaedra, she was like, yeah, we good. We see each other all the time. And he was like, yeah, but y'all see each other just with transferring the kids. Like, Apollo don't even go inside the house. He pull up and he stay in the car or stand on them steps, okay? Um so yeah, so they were talking about that, and Andy asked Phaedra, well, since you and Apollo are good, like, are you and his wife good? And she was like, like, I don't speak to her. And he's like, so I mean, will y'all ever need to conversate or get to know each other? And Phaedra just kind of like, no, because I mean, truthfully, I mean, they really don't, like, honestly and truthfully. And if any of y'all watch Housewives of Atlanta, it was kind of a little sketchy start with Apollo and that woman and Phaedra and stuff. I recall them being in the midst of the divorce and stuff when that happened. But it was giving a little bit of overlappage, if you ask me. So then Andy asked Apollo about being back, and he ends up bringing up Todd and Candy. He was like, yeah, there was so much that happened on the show, and to be here, with Candy, I did talk to Todd about a week ago. He just kind of explained and apologized because it was given storyline, and he's not thinking about how that that kind of affected my life. And the thing is, like, it wasn't just a storyline, Apollo. You really were going to jail. You really were hiding over there at Candy and Todd's house. So if Candy was speaking of her experience of what was truly happening, plus Phaedra was hella upset with Candy, that was not storyline. That was real. So Apollo, stop it. So after that, they get to Greg and his relationship with Sweet Tea. Uh, Greg, he, basically was asked about, oh no, it didn't start with Greg, it was with Cecil. Because Cecil said, oh, Greg, he leveled up. And so he was just like, it wasn't really meant in that way. He's like, Quad messaged me, because Quad was like, oh, leveled up, huh? And so what he really meant was, he, in his version, his mind, he was like, he was just happy to see that, Greg was, finally in love and happy and all those things like that. And so, of course, they asked Greg, and he's like, yeah, Sweet Tea's a girl for me. She, they brought up the fact that he take out the trash for Sweet Tea. And Quad was like, well, I'm glad as his first wife, I was able to help him, learn, a trait to take into the new marriage with him. And then, Quad mentioned something about them being like a good fit, like, because, she was asked or whatever, and she was like, yeah, with me being, older, just generally older, you have a little more experience. And, that's why I think, Sweet Tea is a good fit for Greg, because we all know Greg is controlling. And then the fact that he's doing stupid, like, because she didn't push the buttons on the security thing, you lie and say something like, oh, it's robbers in the house. Like, who does that? Like, for real, who does that? So, like, he's very manipulative. But he, basically talked about Sweet Tea being the one for him. She's funny. They have fun together. She cooked. And Quad was like, you one of them. Like, that's all Greg knows. I just need somebody to take care of me. That's all Greg's worried about. And with Quad, not Quad, with Sweet Tea, he found it, I guess. Sweet Tea had her thing to say, basically like, oh, me and Greg, I love him. We gonna be good together. We're in this for the long haul. But Quad, you don't know nothing about me to say that. So it was like, girl, she was giving you a compliment, but okay, you want to fight with Quad. So yeah, Greg also got brought up about what's the name of that stuff? A prenup. Yeah, because Phaedra brought up like, oh, are you gonna get a prenup? And he was like, Andy, no, I didn't. He's like, I trust you. I know I trust this one. I feel like, she's the one for me. He basically at this point is feeling like, Sweet Tea's in it for the long haul, as Sweet Tea said. Um, but they did get into actually, Phaedra and Greg and their relationship, and uh their dating history. We'll just put it that way. And how Phaedra basically allegedly asked for $4,000. And so Phaedra was like, "When did I ask you for $4,000?" And Greg was like, "Well, see, what happened was, you basically let me know that, okay, you take care of yourself. This is what it is. And if you basically need a man who can pick up where you left off." So it was kind of like everybody reiterated in a way where it's like, okay, basically what happened was Phaedra set her expectations. Like, I'm taking care of myself and it's $4,000 a month. Can you put in on this man type situation? And then here's another thing too that shows Greg's character, where he was like, "Oh, I should have just lied." Y'all know how he be talking. "I should have just lied, and then you never know, we would be together right now." And everybody's like, "Greg, shut up. Don't say nothing like that. Like, I should have just lied." And so the fact that you're even saying that, which is what a lot of these dudes do, you lie, say you got it, and you don't, then you be upset that you with a bad, who can maintain this lifestyle, and then because you can't, you become insecure, jealous, controlling, and then upset, and then now she becomes a gold digger, when the truth is you knew you didn't have it in the first place. But you talking about, "Oh, I should have just lied and went along with it." Like, once again, you show the type of manipulator that you are, saying stuff like that, Greg. Because what was going to happen after that? You lied, and then you was going to have to play keep up. But yeah, so then they got into, well, did anything ever happen between you and Greg? Because Andy was like, "Yeah, Greg said, when he went to your house or whatever for a few times, it was like a date." And Phaedra keeps trying to conflate a date with doing something physical, because she didn't say, like, answer the, "Oh, did y'all date? Was it a date?" She was like, "Did we ever do anything physical or romantic or whatever?" He was like, "No, not on your side or whatever." Basically, he was trying to shoot his shot. I guess he was trying to give her kisses. I don't know, rub on her leg, give her massages. I don't know. But the shot was denied. But nonetheless, I just saw how Phaedra was directing the questions in a way of not actually answering the questions, which she always does. So yeah, Greg, Phaedra, their dating situation, yeah. Sweet Tea, she feel like she the one. Okay, we gonna see how that plays out. And that's what Quad said. She was like, "Oh, we'll be together." She's like, "We'll see. Like, we'll see how that goes." So after that, we get into Toya and Eugene, and basically how, Toya getting with Gene after finding out that he was a doctor instead of a nurse. And Toya, I mean, we can't be mad at her. Like, at the end of the day, as women, we try to look for security. And she found it. And not only that did she find security, she actually found a decent man with Eugene. Like, that's the thing. Like, yeah, Toya, you got to stop talking to him crazy. And even Eugene said that. He's like, "I know what I got into, because they played the clip with the sons basically being like, girls don't like good guys or the nerds. They like, athletes and stuff like that." And Eugene, he was like, "I'm always number one." Back in the day, Eugene, he ran track and stuff like that or whatever. But Quad, was like, "Oh yeah, when they did the little singles mixer or whatever, speed dating," she was like, "Oh no, he a nurse," but then when he a doctor, it's like, "Oh, wait a minute. I just playing. So, Eugene's like, "I know Toya, who she is. I signed up for it. Can she do too much sometimes?" Yeah. And that's the thing. Like, Toya she be talking rowdy sometimes with Eugene, and that's the only thing I'll be like, "Okay, bring it down, girl." Like, that's it. But other than that, like, Toya and Eugene, their relationship, the way they raise those boys, like, is to be admired. So what else happened after that? We get into the trip. So the trip, obviously, them all being together for 10 years, going to Hilton Head and all of that, that was not what I was trying to say. Lord, what's the word? Kerfluffus, y'all know what I'm trying to say. It is is it that? I think it is. Kerfluffus. I think that's I missed the L. I think that's what it was. So, Lord. Hopefully YouTube don't flag me on that one. But yeah, so Kerfuffle, that's the word I'm looking for, kerfuffle. So yeah, when they went to Hilton Head and all the drama that caused, but at the end of the day, there's 10 years of them being in a relationship, with each other as friendships and things. And Phaedra saw it and was like, had I been, in this group, when me and Apollo were together, who knows, like we would still be married. And so Andy asked Apollo like what he thought about that, and he was like, never thought about that or whatever. I don't think they'd be together. No, because he was still going to jail, and Phaedra ain't waiting for no man to come out of jail for 5 years. And then also too, I forgot what Andy asked Apollo, because they were like, "Oh, Greg, did you meet the expectations?" And so Andy was like, "Well, when you got back together, I'm assuming Apollo, you met her expectations." He was like, "Yeah, more ways than one." And we know he trying to say, like, Apollo, we get it. You got good dick. Like, whatever, bro. Like, we get it, all right? We get it already. So, yeah, that's why Phaedra was sneaking over there and getting that bike toe up over there on that air mattress. Y'all know dudes with the good deed, they just living all types of ratchet. Don't even got a bed frame, living on air mattresses. But when I tell you they gonna put that legs to the moon. So yeah, he said he was meeting all of Phaedra's needs. So yeah, back to the trip, everybody, and then of course you gotta talk about, Hilton Head and how that kind of caused a ruckus between Heavenly, Simone, and Jackie. And so Heavenly was like, well, before you start yelling at me, Simone, she was like, all I was saying was, you need to listen to Jackie because she was hurt by that. And, you sometimes can be hard headed. And, Jackie needs to speak up. And that's where, Simone was like, that's exactly, like, Heavenly has always, for the past couple of years, been Jackie's mouthpiece. And it's so annoying because Jackie's still saying the same that she did last reunion when Simone was like, Heavenly keeps speaking up. And this is also when Heavenly was going after Cecil on social media and dragging him over private information that Simone told her about him not, having a job or whatever. And she blasted it all on Twitter, and Jackie didn't feel the need to like say Heavenly was wrong. And her reply is always, well, Heavenly's a grown woman. I don't tell her what to say and what not to say. And it's like, Jackie, stop it. If that's really your friend, you are supposed to call her out when she does stuff to your other friend, and which you have known for 20 something years. But it's very clear Jackie wants to keep like the facade of, not being involved in the drama, and she's above it all. So I'm gonna let Heavenly, do my dirty work. But like Simone called out, like, girl, if we've been friends for 20 years, you should be able to tell me like what's going on. And if you can't, then like that's a problem. Cause she's like, I've known you before, before all of this, girl. We still got 10 years before Married to Medicine. And that is true. Like, girl, if I've known you for 20 years, cause she's like, I saw the look on your face. And she was like, well, if you saw the look on my face, like, then you should have reached out. And she was like, I did. And then also too, it was a thing of, Alicia, she want to, now all of a sudden Alicia want to say something, talk about, well, Simone, you could have moved the trip, and once you heard her, whatever, you weren't listening, we could have done all that stuff anywhere. And the thing is, Alicia, you new to the show, so it's your first season, so you don't understand that these trips are already pre-planned. So Simone couldn't move it because producers already had that locked down. Okay, so you're gonna have to stay out of it on this one. But Jackie, once again, with the Simone's like, it is affecting our friendship. And Jackie's like, well, I mean, it shouldn't. And it's like, even Toya said something like, girl, she's telling you it is. And that really is just like, it's so crazy to watch Jackie still have this same problem between Simone and Heavenly. I think she low-key likes them having, like, fighting for her friendship in a way. But moving on. So we get into Sweet Tea also at the Hilton Head trip, basically getting in Jackie's behind because she felt like, why should I be empathetic to you and your situation? And that's, stuff was 7 years ago. But when I came into the group, everybody was making me the butt of their jokes. And that's why I said, since the beginning of this season, I was like, behind the scenes, they set Sweet Tea up, especially Heavenly, probably giving her like, girl, I got you. We gonna be friends. production, probably giving her the comfort of knowing like, okay, even though Quad's, gonna be on the show, we'll make sure that there's no, inappropriate action between, Quad and Greg. Like, I feel like that's why it was such a stark contrast for Sweet Tea, because behind the scenes, they was filling her head with all the good of reality TV, but not the bad as well. So that's why she was like, so when Jackie was like giving me all the baby girls and, let it come out, it came out. So also on the Hilton Head trip, we got to get into the infamous Kima and his, way of thinking that roles should be in a marriage. And Toya kept it cute when Andy asked, like, what do you think? And she was like, I don't think nothing. Like, that's their relationship. And, me and Eugene's relationship is different. Everybody got to do what's best for their marriage. But, I just hope that Alicia's needs are getting met, because Kima just kept talking about his needs. And Alicia all reunion is just doing damage control for Kima like nobody's business. Of course, she pipes up with the, oh, our marriage is good. It works for us. Also, he was just joking. And it's like, girl, okay, he says it the first time, we could take it as joking. But he kept saying it. Like, we know that he is very much intentional and very much serious about what he's saying, because girl, you literally said that you was ready to divorce that man while you was pregnant, okay, talking about you was ready to leave. So let's not act like you didn't say also too on the show that you threw in his face like you didn't feel like he was being a man, because he didn't even know how to pick up a wrench or a hammer. So Alicia, like, let's not. I think she watched the show, Kima watched the show back, and I think Kima gave her an earful. Obviously, be my wife, defend me, and so that's what she's doing in public, defending him. But also know behind the scenes, Kima ain't, But Alicia's response to Toy was, well, my needs are being met. I never mentioned anything about my husband's penis size, and it was like, girl, what that got to do with anything? She definitely was deflecting in that moment. And Eugene finally was like, everybody's face was kind of like, girl. And Eugene joked it off like, Andy, I'ma just whip it out, But Alicia just kind of always does this thing of like trying to laugh it off, like, my husband was joking. It works for us, we just live the way we do, and so, I'm happy over here. Heavenly can get a dick in the ear, we good. So yeah, but Kima's thoughts, like, Jimmy Neutron built ass, a skinny neck, and a big old gigantic watermelon head. Like, Kima, and then also come to find out you think that way and you ain't eating pussy? Oh no, we will not. We will not. Talking about, oh, it's in our culture, to not do that. Quad was like, if you're gonna be in a relationship with me, we gonna need a little downtown. Okay, get a little downtown. Downtown loving. And Alicia did, y'all, here we go again with Alicia with the bull, talking about, oh, with me and him being in the oral, industry, we do see a lot of, injuries to the mouth. And so with rough, oral situations, everybody's like, what that got to do with your marriage, girl? Like Toya said, you shouldn't have to worry about that with your husband. Like, everything in Alicia was just giving excuse after excuse, and none of them made sense, which is even more annoying. Like, you couldn't even come up with shit that made sense. Oh, what? He ain't going down on you because he don't want to his oral, like, because of oral surgery. Like, girl, bye. So yeah, like, Alicia, I really want Alicia and Kima to come back. I know a lot of people are like, they don't like Alicia, but I really feel like there's more to be discovered in her and Kima's relationship. And also, when you get on TV more, stuff start coming out. So I feel like Alicia is a cooker. I like, or that's what I say. Like, we need to let her cook a little more, because sometimes we bring people on the show and then just like they dip like after the first season. I feel like Alicia is a cooker. But let's go ahead and move on. So they kind of round off to the end of the episode. They've been doing the flashback clips, and so everything that's happened over the 10 years. And, of course, Andy got to ask, what's something over the 10 years, even though it's good to be on the show, that was hard to see. And of course, the first person was Curtis, because bro, you got busted literally in the middle of the airport. You couldn't do just stupid. And so he was like, yeah, of course it was hard to live that back, but it is lesson for other people that you can screw up and come back. I still think Jackie and Curtis is really just living parallel lives. They're just not divorcing. Like, they're not gonna leave each other for the sake of it just being easy, but they ain't really married like that. Then we get into Heavenly, no, Greg and Quad, because obviously that playback was rough. Quad and Greg was fighting back and forth, and Greg tried to make it seem like, oh, because Andy was like, I said I was gonna check in with you, your mental health, and he was like, yeah, it's hard because coming from such a toxic situation where there's so much trauma, it can be kind of tough. And it was like, bro, you trying to paint it all one side like Quad was the only toxic one. No. Quad said you drug her and grabbed her. She might have pulled a knife out on you, but both of y'all was toxic and giving each other trauma. So that's what Quad was like, and that's for both sides. And she was like, but understand, he knew I was going to be here, and you still signed up. Greg, you knew Quad was going to be there, and you and Sweet Tea, and y'all still signed up. So there it is. Then we get into I think it was Heavenly, and who was it? Heavenly. What else are they talking about? It was Heavenly and yeah, Sweet Tea. That's what it was. Because obviously watching back, and asking Sweet Tea how it was on the show, she felt some type of way about Heavenly still. She's like, girl, I was your patient, and you still talking shit about me on social media. And she's like, I don't give a fuck about that. Like, F you. And Heavenly's like, girl, F you too. She was like, girl, you keep coming at me, I'm gonna make Jackie get you. And everybody was like, huh? She's like, Jackie, stand up. Get her, Jackie. And everybody was like, what? Jackie, she said, you gonna do it this time. She said, you gonna get me this time. And Jackie was like, oh, girl, like, stop it. Everybody was so thrown off. Heavily, you might fight for Jackie, but I hate to break it to you. Jackie show ain't fighting for you. Point blank, period. So it's the end of the episode. All the ladies basically just kind of talk about, the year, the season, how much they love each other. Quad gives her input on understanding, like, she was close with these ladies at one point and she wants to rebuild that. Simone basically says we can try, but it's going to require, all of us not bringing up old stuff and, not taking, the comments in social media and, running with them. But yeah, overall, you guys, that was the episode. Phaedra, she feels like she found her new clan. I don't know how I feel about that. Quad actually fulfilled her apology tour. She actually apologized to Eugene at one point in the show. So yeah, you guys, y'all drop in the comments. How do you guys feel about Phaedra, becoming a part of Married to Medicine? What do you guys think about Alicia? Should she return? Would y'all be happy to see Sweet Tea return? Yeah, you guys, I appreciate you for tuning in. I will catch y'all later. Bye.